Supposedly, the can set you free, but for many, the seat holds the key to money, fame, revenge, or power. And this proved all too tempting. In history, this has often resulted in elaborate hoaxes, perjuries, and forgeries that had enormous ripple effects. Now we take you into 10 of the greatest lies in history, and we hope you enjoy this. By the time the Nazism arose in Germany in the 1930s, anti-Semitism was nothing new, not by a long shot. The Jewish people had suffered a long history of prejudice and persecution, and although Nazism perpetuated centuries-old lies, this time those lies would have their most devastating effect. Like never before, anti-Semitism was manifested in a sweeping national policy known as the Final Solution, which sought to eliminate the Jews from the face of the earth. To accomplish this, Adolf Hitler and his Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, launched a massive campaign to convince the German people that the Jews were their enemies. Having taken over the press, they spread lies blaming the Jews for all Germany's problems, including the loss of the First World War. One outrageous lie, dating back to the Middle Ages, claimed that Jews engaged in ritual killings of Christian children and used their blood in the unleavened bread eaten at Passover. Using Jews as a scapegoat, Hitler and his cronies orchestrated what they called the Big Lie. This theory states that no matter how big the lie is, or more precisely because it's so big, people will believe it if you repeat it enough. Everyone tells small lie, Hitler reasoned, but few have the guts to tell colossal lies. Because a lie is so unlikely, people will come to accept it. This theory helps us understand so many of the lies throughout history, although we've barely scratched the surface of all those lies that deserve this honorable mention. You can satiate your historical curiosity by listening to more of the lies we have to reveal to you. 2 decades after the Clinton scandal, another U.S. president was caught in a web of lies, and the controversy had devastating effects on the country as a whole. In the summer before President Richard Nixon's successful re-election to the second term, 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters, housed in the Watergate Hotel. As details emerged over the next year, it became clear that officials close to Nixon gave the order to the burglars, perhaps to plant wiretaps on the phones there. The question soon became whether Nixon knew of, covered up, or even ordered the break-in. In response to the mounting suspicions, Nixon denied allegations that he knew anything and proclaimed, "I am not a crook." This lie became what haunted him when it was revealed that private White House conversations about the matter was recorded. The investigative committee subpoenaed the tapes. Nixon's refusal on the basis of executive privilege brought the matter to the U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled that he had to relinquish the tapes. The tapes were exactly the smoking guns needed to implicate Nixon in the cover-up of the scandal. They revealed that he obviously knew more about the matter than he claimed. Upon the initiation of impeachment proceedings, Nixon gave up and resigned from office. The scandal left a lasting scare on the American political scene and helped usher Washington outsider Jimmy Carter into the presidency a few years later. In January 1998, citizen journalist Matt Drudge reported a sensational story that turned out to be true. The President of the United States, Bill Clinton, had an affair with a White House intern, Monica Lewinsky. As suspicions mounted, Clinton publicly denied the allegations, and as if this lie weren't big enough, it turned out that Clinton had lied under oath about the affair as well, which was perjury and grounds for impeachment. Here is how the truth came out. Paula Jones was an Arkansas state employee when then Governor Clinton allegedly propositioned her. She later sued him for sexual harassment. In an effort to prove that Clinton had a pattern of such behavior, lawyers set out to expose his sexual affairs. They found Linda Tripp, a former White House secretary and confidant of Lewinsky. Tripp recorded telephone conversations in which Lewinsky talked of her affair with Clinton. Lawyers then probed Clinton with specific questions and cornered him into denying the affair under oath. During the highly publicized scandal, prosecutor Kenneth Starr subpoenaed Clinton, who finally admitted to the relationship. Based on Starr's report, the House of Representatives voted to impeach Clinton for not only perjury but obstruction of justice. Despite the scandal, Clinton maintained relatively high approval ratings from the American public, and the Senate acquitted him of the charges. However, in the eyes of many Americans, his legacy remained tarnished. Like the conspiracy invented by Titus Otis, this scandal was built on a lie that dramatically affected national politics and was perpetuated for years by hatred. Alfred Dreyfus was a Jewish officer in the French army in the late 19th century when he was accused of a treasonous crime, which is selling military secrets to Germany. After his highly publicized trials, authorities sentenced him to life imprisonment on Devil's Island, and anti-Semitic groups used him as an example of unpatriotic Jews. However, suspicions arose that the incriminating letter were in fact forged and that a major Eckhazy was the real culprit. When French authorities suppressed these accusations, the novelist Émile Zola stepped up to accuse the army of a vast cover-up. The scandal exploded into a fight between the so-called Dreyfusard, who wanted to see the case reopened, and anti-Dreyfusard, who didn't. On both sides, the debate became less about Dreyfus' innocence and more about the principle. During the dramatic 12-year controversy, many violent anti-Semitic riots broke out and political allegiance shifted as Dreyfus had called for reform. After Major Hubert Joseph Henry admitted to forging key documents and committed suicide, a newly elected cabinet finally reopened the case. The court found Dreyfus guilty again. However, he soon received a pardon from the president. A few years later, a civilian court of appeal found Dreyfus innocent, and he went on to have a distinguished army career and fought with honor in the World War I. Meanwhile, the scandal had changed the face of politics in France. After Charles Darwin published his Revolutionary on the Origin of Species in 1859, scientists scrambled to find fossil evidence of extinct human ancestors. They sought these so-called missing links to fill in the gaps on the timeline of human evolution. When archaeologist Charles Dawson unearthed what he thought was a missing link in 1910, what he really found was one of the biggest hoaxes in history. The discovery was a Piltdown Man, piece of a skull, and jaw with molars located in Piltdown Quarry in Sussex, England. Dawson brought his discovery to prominent paleontologist Arthur Smith Woodward, who touted its authenticity to his dying day. Although the discovery gained world renown, the lie behind Piltdown Man slowly and steadily unraveled. In the ensuing decades, other major discoveries suggested Piltdown Man didn't fit in the story of human evolution. By the 1950s, tests revealed that the skull was only 600 years old and the jaw came from an organotum, organgutan. Some knowledgeable persons apparently manipulated these pieces, including filing down and staining the teeth. The scientific world had been duped, so who was behind the fraud. Many suspects have surfaced, including the Dawson himself. Today, most signs point to Martin A.C. Hilton, a museum volunteer at the time of the discovery. A truck bearing the initials contained bones that were stained in exactly the same way the Piltdown fossils were. Perhaps he was out to embarrass his boss, Otto Smith Woodward, who refused to give him a weekly salary. Lol.